Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Best Loser. Today is Friday, the 28th of November 2025. The markets just closed about 45 minutes ago. Well, it's time for me to do the weekend Forex forecast for the upcoming week. As usual, we're going to be kicking things off with the economical calendar. Okay, so let's go into Forex Factory and see what we have, in the economical calendar, right? So as we can see here, well, on Sunday, okay, when the market opens pretty much, okay, all day, we do have the OPEC meetings, okay? So this probably is going to have an impact in the oil. All right, so keep an eye on, the Canadian dollar pairs and things of that nature, right? And then 8:05 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday as well, we do have, the Bank of Japan's governor speaking, all right, around 8:05 p.m. And then on Monday, 10 a.m., we do have the ISM Manufacturing PMI release, okay, scheduled as well, all right? That's pretty much it for the high impact news that we have on Monday. Then on Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, if you trade the Australian dollar pairs, you really want to keep an eye on this one, okay? The GDP data coming up from the Australian axis. Wednesday, 2:30 a.m. Eastern, we do have another high impact, okay? The CPI coming out from the Swiss axis. And later, we do have the non-farm employment change coming out from the United States axis as well, okay? ISM Services PMI. So we do have some high impact news on the calendar. On Thursday, you can see we do have the unemployment claims, and then Friday is the day we do have some significant high impact news, okay, from the US and Canadian axis, okay, the unemployment data from Canada, and then we do have the PC price index, okay. So we do have enough elements in the calendar to get the markets moving early next week and even deeper into the end of next week. So let's see, hopefully we get some nice volatility to get these markets moving, okay. All right, so that's pretty much it from an economical calendar perspective. Now, as usual, we're going to be kicking things off now with technical analysis to see, the levels that the markets or the charts have been printed on our charts by taking a look at DXY. Okay, so let's see. DXY, well, as you can see, we do have this flat top triangular formation here in DXY. Okay, you can see the markets remains inside this triangular consolidation. We do have this top out right around 140 area. All right, that's pretty much the top of that triangular consolidation. At least that is what it's looking like at this point, okay. And this probably it's an area that I'm expecting, well, I wouldn't say expecting. This is the area that the market seems to be testing at this point, okay? So who knows? What I would like to see from here is the market giving me a turnaround to the upside, okay? That doesn't mean that is what the market must do, okay? That is just what it is looking like at this moment. You notice that earlier today, the market did give us a PS below that line, taking off this low, which in my own opinion could have been just grabbing liquidity below this trend line, and you can see that the markets managed to close again above this particular trend line again. So I won't be surprised if early next week the market just gives us a turnaround, back towards the upside, okay. That is very, very possible in DXY right now. In the event, okay, again, in the event that the market opens and we continue to push to the downside, taking off these lows, okay, Friday lows, then that might be an indication that the bears are coming into this market. And in that situation, I would like to keep an eye and see how the markets reacts off of 9880 areas, okay, right around this demand zone area that we have right here, okay. And if that gets taken out, then my next key level is gonna be around 9800, okay, into these particular zones that we have here. In my own opinion, this area here is going to be a high quality area to start searching for long opportunities in this particular charts, okay. I had explained this better in the midweek forex forecast that I did earlier in the week, but again, you guys get the idea. So few areas of interest in my own opinion. Possible push to the upside from right around current market price. Possible break to the downside into this demand zone area, okay, right around 9880, from where I will expect to see a bounce back to the upside, or a possible, let's say, push towards 9800, from where it's also possible the markets, will be giving us a nice push to the upside as well. So these are gonna be kind of the levels I'm gonna be keeping an eye on, with this being pretty much the one that I'm gonna be focusing mostly at this point, okay, for a possible push to the upside, okay. So that's pretty much it right now in in DXY. Now, is it possible that the market opens and we just continue to shoot to the downside, breaking below 9,800? Very possible. Okay, but again, if that happens, then chances I'm gonna be, keeping a very close eye on these markets to, see what price action, how the market is developing, and then, read price action much better. Okay, all right. So that's pretty much it for DXY. Now we are going to be taking a look at Euro US dollar. Okay, so for Euro US dollar, what do we have here? Let's see. We do have this particular channel. I've kind of withdrawn this channel. This is the reason why channels are not my best, okay? Because again, markets moves and you have to keep rearranging to see what the best channel is, okay? But this is what it's looking like at this point, okay? I'm liking the bounces that we're getting in this area, okay? This is the third bounce now almost, okay? And this is the return line. So I'm liking this particular channel. And well, you can see if this is the channel, okay, then chances are that, well, we are retesting that channel right now, right around this area, okay, in thin volume. And well, next week I would like to see the markets open for the bears to start coming into this market for further continuations to the downside. Okay, this is going to be my preferred course of action in Euro US dollar. Okay, I would like to see the markets open. Right now we have pulled back to retest right around 1600. As a matter of fact, actually earlier today I took a loss on this one. I had trade my stop. I believe I traded my stop a little too quickly at 1602. I got stopped out, and right now the market is dipping back in. When the market opens next week, I'm going to be reanalyzing this quickly to know if there is a need for me to get back short in this market, because right now again it is still looking bearish. Okay, we are remaining below this trend line that I have just spotted. Okay, so if the market opens and we start turning around to the downside, chances are I'm going to be getting back short in these markets, and hoping that the market is going to give us that move, okay, to the downside, or anticipating. All right, not hoping, anticipating that the market is going to give us that move to the downside. Okay, in the event that that doesn't happen, another area of importance is going to be this area that we have right here. Okay, so the markets can easily give us a push to the upside. Okay, grabbing liquidity above this trend line into this let's say supply zone area that we have around here. Okay, and then from here the markets can easily, let's say 1640 area, begin to dive back to the downside. Okay, these are very, very possible scenarios in these particular charts at the moment. Now, there is also the possibility, obviously, that this market gives us a nice push towards, let's say, 1700 areas, okay, to retest these levels that we have around here, from where the markets can start, dropping again. But again, from the price action that we are seeing right now, we are still below this trend line, so this is gonna be my first course of action. And if we break and we tap in here and we get reversals, this is another course of action of interest, in my own opinion. Okay, all right, so that's pretty much it for Euro US dollar. Next up is going to be British pound some US dollar. Now, for British pound some US dollar, I'm still short in this. All right, I identified this again, like I told you guys, this pair is trending in the really will I say higher time frames. So again, this could easily be a retracement in a higher time frame. One can do retracement in a higher time frame, looking like an uptrend, and then from here the bears begin to come back into this market. Okay, so that being said, we do have this level of structure that was broken to the downside. Okay, we also do have this supply zone area. Let's keep that in mind. Okay, but right now the market appears to be bouncing off of that level of structure. Okay, so well, I have analyzed this chart, and I am currently short right now. My position is still open over this weekend, and I actually called it on my Discord channel as well. And again, this is probably an opportunity for me to talk about the Discord channel, guys. Feel free to take a look at the description box, and also the pinned comment if you are interested in joining my free Discord. Okay, all right, so back to the analysis, guys. So from here, what would I like to see? Well, let's see. From here, obviously I'm short. What I would like to see in this market is for the markets to start giving me that push again to the downside towards these lows that we have in these areas. Okay, so that's pretty much it. In the event that this doesn't hold, it's very possible that the markets can also open. All right, we take off this high and we start shooting deep into this particular supply zone area. anywhere from here, again, the markets can easily turn around for further continuations to the downside. Okay, these are possibilities that I can see in this particular chart at the moment. All right, so that's pretty much it right now. Obviously, like I'm short, I'm expecting that this market is going to, give me this move. This is what I'll prefer to see. All right, but again, the market has the final say, so let's see how it behaves. All right, so that's it for GU. Next up is going to be Australian dollar, US dollar. Now, again, this pair, in my own opinion, again, as you can see, we do have the flag formation, all right? But again, we also have this flat bottom, this beautiful flat bottom triangular formation on the daily charts. And right now you can see that the market's pretty much retested that particular trend line, okay? Also, there's a supply zone in here, all right, in the smaller time frame that I'm also keeping an eye on. And if we pay attention as well, we notice that that area coincides with 0.6550 institutional price level. So again, a few elements of bearish confluence sitting right around this area, and you can see the market's dipped into that area, that supply zone, that round number, and this trend line. And well, right now you can see that we're already getting a rejection from that particular area. Now, will that continue? Only time will tell. All right, but right now it's very possible, from what I'm seeing, that this market is going to give us probably another nice push again to the downside towards this flat bottom area of the triangle, okay, just around let's say 0.6418 area. Okay, so let's see, do we get that move? Only time will tell. If the market opens and we just continue breaking to the upside, well, I'll start searching for demand zones. Okay, I'm not married to any particular move. I'm just going to keep aligning with the markets and following it as the market develops. But based on the price action that I'm seeing right now, we do have this trend line, we do have this flat bottom, and this right here was the breakout pullback and the continuation of the flag formation that I had showed you guys earlier. So well, I won't be surprised if this happens. Okay, this is my preferred course of action in Australian dollar, US dollar as we go into next week. Now, that being said, do I just start selling as soon as the market opens? Obviously not. All right. So if I go into, let's say, the hourly time frame, you notice that, well, the market's still printing higher highs and higher lows. Okay, so again, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on this one going into next week. All right. So if we, let's say, the market does something of this nature, all right, and then we start to break. Okay, now what do we have? We are no more printing higher highs and higher lows, okay, as we were printing in this area. Now we are printing what? A lower low, lower high, lower low. Now I start to search for my short opportunities for further continuations to the downside. Okay, it's really that simple. That's pretty much how I trade. Okay, all right, so that's pretty much it for Australian dollar, US dollar. Next up is going to be New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Now for New Zealand dollar, US dollar, the story is very, very similar to the Aussie. All right, you can notice that from here we do have this particular nice swinging pattern that we've been enjoying in this pair. Okay, that swinging pattern kind of got broken here, but make no mistakes, we do have this very beautiful supply zone area, okay, that we have in this area right here that led to the break of this level of structure. So the bears are still in control in these markets for the most part. Okay, so make no mistakes. So from right around here, again, it's been, New Zealand has been quite strong, right? So New Zealand dollar has been quite strong, so be very careful with this one. So what I would like to say is, well, if you must trade this, wait for clear reversals in the smaller time frame. All right, taking off, Friday's lows will be very, very crucial, and watching out for lower highs and lower lows to form in the smaller time frames before you start looking for short opportunities. Okay, if the market does make it into this particular supply zone area, again, same thing, we start searching for short opportunities as well, reversals in the smaller time frame. Okay, now if I go into the let's say hourly time frame as well, you notice again very similar to the price action that we have in Australian dollar, US dollar. Okay, obviously this being the current low, markets can easily bounce off of this demand area, okay, that we have right here. So we can get something of this nature, and then we start getting that break, taking off these levels. Then now we're printing lower highs and lower lows, and from here you can start searching for short opportunities for further continuations to the downside. All right, so that's pretty much it for New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Next up is going to be US dollar, Swiss francs. Now to be completely honest with you, I don't have much on this pair at the moment. All right, one area that I have been keeping an eye on is this right here. This is pretty much the only demand zone of interest that I have at this point. Will the market get here? only time will tell. Okay, right now it seems like we're bouncing off of that 80.25 level. Nothing really of interest in that area, to be completely honest. The only place we have something is right around this demand zone area that led to the break of this level of structure that we have right here. Okay, even with this break as well, we didn't quite take off these highs. So, well, this is not the strongest demand zone that I'm going to be trading, to be honest. I think there are better looking charts I'm going into next week. But again, we also have this institutional price level of 08,000 sitting here. So, well, I won't be surprised if we get this kind of move, all right, before we get this reversal, or again, markets can just open and we start pushing up again from here. Who knows? But again, I'm more bullish than bearish when it comes to US dollar Swiss francs. Again, let's see how it goes. All right, so that's it for US dollar Swiss francs. Next up is going to be US dollar Canadian dollar. Very nice moves, guys. Very, very nice moves. Now, if you take a look, if you remember, I told you guys that, well, from the monthly chart, obviously, I'm expecting this pair to give us a move towards like 1.4500 areas, okay, for a start, okay? Because again, we are just bouncing off of the demand zone area that we have on the daily. So, well, from a longer term perspective, this market is still, pushing to the upside. Now, in that longer time as well, we also now have gotten significant pullback. You can see that this week was a very nice bearish week, in my own opinion. And well, that's nice opportunities for us to start searching for long opportunities in this pair, because again, we still have some room, to the upside. Okay, so let's see if we go into the daily time frame. If you remember, guys, from a few weeks ago, this is the demand zone of interest that I have had all this while, okay? This is the demand zone that led, again, to the break of this particular level of structure, okay? So that is how this demand zone was formed. Price just came in today, tapped into that demand zone area. As you can see, 139.50 institutional price level, okay? So, well, from right around here again, I'm now keeping an eye on this pair, obviously, next week to see how, if gonna get a reversal for further continuations again back to the upside. Okay, this is a very interesting chart for me going into next week. Okay, I'm gonna be keeping an eye on this to see how the market behaves. Again, remember, we do have the OPEC meetings, which can easily impact the Canadian dollar pairs. All right, so keep that in mind. Now, that's pretty much it for the US dollar Canadian dollar. Next up is going to be US dollar Japanese yen. Now, US dollar Japanese yen, guys, obviously in a very nice uptrend when it comes to the daily charts. As you can see, markets continue to print higher highs and higher lows in this particular pair. All right. After this nice swing to the upside, like I explained to you guys in the midweek Forex forecast, this market is looking like we're about to get some bearish retracements, okay, into demand zones that we have, obviously in the higher time frames, this being the daily charts at this moment. So, well, this is the demand zone, obviously, and you can see that slowly but surely, it's as if the market is looking for ways to make it back into this particular demand zone area, okay, from where I will expect the bulls to come back in again for further continuations to the upside. Right now, it's obviously looking like a very nice, flag formation, with this being the bullish flag. So I would like to see this happen, all right, for something of this nature to happen. This is going to be my preferred course of action in US dollar Japanese yen. Now, as we go into the smaller time frame, if we go into the 4 hours time frame, you notice that obviously this is that flag formation that I'm saying, okay, this being the falling channel. Okay, this is the bearish channel that we have right now. And well, from here, what I would like to see in this pair is for the markets to give me that push to the downside, maybe a little hesitation as we step into this demand zone area to push price again to the upside. Oops, 1 second, let me clean this up. All right, so something of this nature. All right, this is kind of the price action I would like to see, and then from here I would like to see the bears come into this market in momentum, all right, into this demand zone area, anywhere from 15500 to 154.50, all right, anywhere from right around this area, which is also going to probably coincide with the return line of this particular channel. Anywhere from here, any reversals, guys, I'll be all over these charts looking for long opportunities to ride this thing again for another whole swing to the upside. This is going to be my preferred course of action as we go into next week for US dollar Japanese yen. Now, in the event that this doesn't happen, and let's say the market opens next week, and from current market price, the market just begins to shoot to the upside, let's say something of this nature begins to happen, we start taking off these levels of resistance on our charts, okay, well, in that case, obviously, again, I'm just going to reanalyze and start identifying demand zones for further continuations to the upside. All I do is just align with the markets based on the price action that I'm seeing. But from what I'm seeing right now, from a price action perspective, it is looking like we are in a falling channel to dip into demand zones that we have on the longer time frames, from where I believe the bulls are most likely going to come back into this market for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's it for US dollar Japanese yen. Next up is going to be British pound some Japanese yen. Now this is one actually I exited a trade that ended up just hitting profit targets just a few hours after I exited it. Okay, this week wasn't really my best when it comes to my personal trading. A few calls that we are off, but it's okay. All right, again, hey, it is what it is. Okay, we are here for the long run. Okay, so now we've had this trend line. Okay, the markets have been trending inside this particular trend line that we have, guided by this bullish trend line. But from what I'm seeing right now, obviously it's looking weak. Okay, you can see it right in this area. We had very nice push. Look at how we had this swing, very nice push to the upside. We got this retracement. The market hesitated a little bit. We pushed, still looking good, okay, but it's a lot of hesitation around this area. So in my own opinion right now, well, very possible that this trend line might give way, and we've now tested this trend line a few times, okay, and it's probably now getting weaker, but we're still above it. Okay, so make no mistakes now, the bears are not yet in control, but it's very possible that as we go into next week, okay, that we get, let's say, a break of this trend line. Once that happens, the funny thing is we start dipping into these particular demand zones that we have on the 4 hours time frame that led to the break of this level of structure. So if we get a push of this nature, chances are that from right around this demand zone area, the markets can give us another nice push to the upside. Okay, possible attack to retest this trend line now from below, and then from here the bears can start coming into these markets. This is again my preferred course of action, not what the market must do. I always like to state this thing, guys. Okay, all right, I want you to understand that I'm not saying that I'm a market god and this is exactly what the markets will do. No, but you can see I am following the story based on the price action that I'm seeing right now on the charts, and then I watch the markets unfold and I align with the market as it unfolds. That is what I do. Okay, all right. So what I would like to see in this pair is for this 4 hours demand zone to give way, because that will open the floodgates to the downside, all right, towards this demand zone that we have on the daily. This is a very solid demand zone in my own opinion, and any moves towards this area 203.50 is going to be my level of interest, and from here any reversals, guys, I'll be all over these charts for further continuations to the upside. Okay, this is my preferred course of action. Now in the event that obviously there's a chance that this doesn't happen, and let's say the market opens and this trend line continues to hold and we continue to break to the upside, breaking this level of resistance that we have around 20700, all right, anywhere from right around here, as soon as we start breaking, obviously I will start searching for demand zones that form on the smaller time frame, all right, for further continuations to the upside. Okay, very simple. It's all about aligning with the market, guys. All right, so that's it for British pound some Japanese yen. Next up is going to be euro yen. Now for euro yen, as you can see here, hey, this right here is showing much more weakness than the GJ. I'm looking right now at the daily charts. We do have, one second, guys. All right, we do have this nice trend line, okay, that I'm using pretty much as a guide at this point. You can see we have had the first bounce, all right, and now this is going to be that third bounce that you know, I'm really anticipating that we're going to get going into next week. Maybe not necessarily next week, but again, I'm anticipating that we're going to get it anytime soon. All right, but again, demand zones continue to hold in this chart. You notice we have this nice demand zone in here that led to the break of this particular level of structure that we have on our charts. Okay, so again, level of structure broken nicely, creating this demand zone in the process. All right, and then we also have this demand zone in here as well, and you notice that the market has already given us that dip, and we have already traded off of that particular demand zone area. Usually when this happens, you know, this is not usually the strongest of demand zones anymore, because again the market has pulled back to pick up orders from that demand zone area. So upon retest of this area, it's very possible that the markets can give us another push to the upside, but again, in my own opinion, it's not the highest quality move. So what I would like to see is probably markets give me a push something of this nature, reaction off of this level, and then from there a push to the downside into this demand zone area, into this trend line area, anywhere from right around here. Let's say keeping an eye around 177.50 area. If we get reversals, I'll be all over these charts looking for nice opportunities for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's it. Okay, again, like I said, I'm going to be flowing with the markets. Okay, I'm going to be aligning with the markets. Okay, there is it's not this is not a macho test. Okay, this is just me trying to read price action to make some sense off of what we are seeing here. If we pay attention here, this is exactly what the market is doing right now. Okay, this is the demand zone that we have in here. Markets tapped in. If you remember, guys, in the Discord channel, I went long, I think it was earlier this week, okay, in here. And well, I had exited this at, I think, at break even. Funny thing about that trade, my area of my 2R was sitting right around here. Markets came all the way up and we turned around and I had to exit that thing pretty much at break even. All right. But again, this is exactly what I'm seeing in these charts right now. We have this area of supply, okay, from where we had these massive sellouts, and we have this area of demand. And as you can see, this is what the market has pretty much been trading within. We bounce off of the demand zone, we push into the supply zone, bears come in, push it back to the demand zone, into the supply zone, bears come in, and we are pushing. You see what is going on? This is what is going on. This is the game that is being played right now in Euro Yen, okay? But one thing is for sure, we've not taken off this high, all right? So obviously the bears have been doing a very good job in protecting these particular areas around 180-200 institutional price level, okay? So, well, like I said, the bears are doing a very good job. So again, what I would like to see obviously is for the bears to come in, all right? Maybe one more attack and push this thing back to the downside. All right, towards 177.50 area. Anywhere from right around here, guys, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. Again, this move can probably push to the downside below this trend line, grab liquidity into this demand zone area, from where, again, this is also another valid opportunity in my own opinion. Okay, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on both to see how this market develops. In the event that, let's say, the market opens next week and the bulls come into this market, clearly breaking above the supply zone area, taking off 180-200, that is a very clear indication to me that the bulls are back in these markets. And well, from that point onwards, I have to just align with the markets, search for demand zones that form in the smaller time frames, and again start following the markets for further continuations to the upside. It's that simple. Okay, all right, so that's it for Euro Yen. Next up is Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Honestly, I don't have anything in this pair, to be completely honest with you. But I'm based on, will I say, the move I'm expecting in the Australian dollar to be down, and the move I'm expecting in the yen crosses to be bearish, then chances are that this pair is probably going to give us a very nice push to the downside next week. But that is about it. There is no price action. It's just been a lot of zigzagging movements, okay, no clear trend, okay, and that is usually the recipe for very nice liquidity grabs, okay, trend line liquidity grabs that can really dig deeper, right, in the charts. Okay, so nothing really from my own perspective. I'm just going to stay away from these charts and focus on the ones that are printing better price action. Okay, all right, next up, British pounds, Australian dollar. Well, again, nothing really in these charts. We finally got that nice push to the upside that I have been anticipating, even though I didn't see when it happened, to close this gap that we have in here. The markets closed that gap, all right, and you can see from there the bears have started coming into these markets as anticipated. Well, I am not in this, but again, it's nice to see how the market is respecting that particular market analysis. Okay, all right, so that's pretty much it. The next up is going to be euro pounds. This is a very, oops, 1 second, let me clean up my charts. All right, so this is one that obviously I'm keeping a very close eye on, okay, as we go into next week. I've been monitoring these charts. If you guys remember, even from the previous week's analysis, I've told you guys how I'm keeping an eye on this particular level of breakouts in euro yen, in euro pounds, okay, and well, what do we get? After much hesitation, the market has finally given us that pullback into that particular, breakout area. All right, you can see this is the area of resistance on these charts. Okay, and finally we got that push to the upside, breaking above that resistance. And right now the market has pulled back, and right around that area, you notice that that is also a third bounce, okay, off of the trend line. All right, and all of this happening around institutional price level of 0.8750. So again, this is a nice area of bullish confluence. Obviously, we don't just jump in, so we're going to wait for reversals in the smaller time frame, which is pretty much the stage at which this market is at this particular moment. So again, it's all about patience, and I'm waiting for this market to reverse. If we go into the smaller time frame, for example, let's say we take a look at the hourly charts, you notice that well, after the market gave us that pull back into that particular area, it's pretty much been a ranging market. Okay, you notice that this is just a range right now. Okay, and well, what I would like to see in this pair going into next week is for the markets to give me a break to the upside. Okay, once we start taking off these highs that we have in this area, then in my opinion, any pullbacks from there is going to be a nice opportunity to start searching for longs for further continuations to the upside. Okay, as long as we can afford stops below these lows that we have in this area. All right, so that's pretty much it for euro pounds. I'm keeping a very close eye on these particular charts. Again, this is not financial advice, this is just what I can see from a price action perspective when it comes to euro pounds. All right, gold. As we look at gold, guys, if you remember, I told you guys this is a possible flat top triangular formation that we have on gold, and that I personally would like to see gold give me a nice bullish week, which is what we got here. As you can see, okay, if I go into the weekly time frame, this is a very nice and bullish week that we got to in gold. All right, and well, we continue to push higher. You can see the market's been scoring higher highs and higher lows. All right, which is obviously very nice uptrend. Okay, this is the higher highs and higher lows, as we can see. So well, this move continues to give me nice will I say opportunities to start searching for long in gold. Okay, in my own opinion, I'll keep this very simple. We do have a 4 hours demand zone. We also have an hourly demand zone, right, that is nested inside the 4 hours demand zone right around that 41.75 area. Market opens next week and we begin to get a push into that area. Okay, anywhere from right around here. Any reversals, guys, in my opinion, is going to be a high quality one for, again, further continuations to the upside. This is a trade that I'm interested in. I'm keeping a very close eye on it. Keep in mind that we do have this area of resistance that we have sitting at this area. So, that's something you have to keep in mind. But again, the bulls are in these markets, and we do have enough room to the upside, in my own opinion, to make it towards those highs that we have on the daily charts. Okay, so if I zoom out, 1 second, let me clean up my charts. If I zoom out, you notice that this is the area, in my own opinion, where I will be very concerned, okay, for this particular move. So again, I would like to see something of this nature going into next week. This is going to be my preferred course of action. Again, let's see. The market has the final say, all right, but I'm just going based on the price action that I can see right now in the charts. All right, next is going to be silver. All right, so silver obviously outperforming gold. Okay, it's leading the way. As you can see, in silver we did have a similar formation, but silver obviously has shown us obviously ahead of time what it wants to do. You can see we had this area of resistance that we had on our charts, and you notice, look at today's price action, guys. Bullish candle breaking clearly above that area. All right, in that process as well, we now have a demand zone that has formed on the daily chart as a result of the break of this level of structure. All right, and so, well, anytime we get this move, chances are we're going to get this kind of reaction off of that area. Okay, so obviously that is why I'm mapping it out. But before we even get to that particular area, if we start zooming into the smaller time frames, okay, you'll notice that well, 1 second, if you notice that I think that's the 4 hours. Yep, in the 4 hours time frame, obviously you notice that well, we do have this area of resistance. Market gives us a hesitation. All right, hesitated for a little bit, and then from here, boom, we got this nice push to the upside, creating this demand zone in the process. Okay, so well, what I would like to see now going into next week is for the markets to give me this push into this particular demand zone area right around 54. Okay, 54, in my own opinion, is a nice level to start searching for long opportunities again for further continuations to the upside. This is going to be my preferred course of action as we go into next week. Now, in the event that this doesn't happen, and let's say the market gives us a push to the downside, I think there's a demand zone in the smaller time frame, and then we continue to react. We just align with the markets, okay, and start searching for demand zones, that form on our charts. That's it. All right, so that's pretty much how I will go about this. But well, it's looking bullish, and it's giving me even a higher confidence that, well, gold is also going to be bullish going into next week. All right, so again, that's pretty much it for silver. Last but not the least is going to be Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin, well, in my own opinion, if we go into the weekly charts, obviously we do have this demand zone area. We also have this trend line. All right, let me show you. This is the trend line, and the market's pretty much dipped below that trend line, maybe to grab liquidity below that trend line, deeper into this demand zone area, and we're getting some reaction off of that area. Like I said, nice buying levels in my own opinion, for obviously someone who is buying to hold. But again, if let's say right around here we do have this supply zone in the 4 hours time frame, okay, the market's still below that supply zone area. So what I would like to see in this particular instrument, okay, in this particular pair is well, obviously for this particular supply zone to give way to the upside. That would be an indication to me that well, we are now, you know, changing character pretty much. Okay, the bulls are now in complete control. Okay, and if that happens, then any push from here can, you know, give us this push to the upside, or even any deeper push into this particular demand zone areas as well can also help, you know, muscle these markets to the upside. But all in all, before all of this, I would like to see the markets give me, you know, a clear break above this particular supply zone that we have in the 4 hours charts. So that's pretty much it. If we get this move, fine. All right, I would like to see, you know, a continuation to the upside. All right, that's when I'll have the confidence, you know, pretty much to start looking for long opportunities for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's pretty much it for Bitcoin, and that's pretty much it for you know, this weekly forex forecast. So hopefully you gained some value in this video, guys. If you did, do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and you know, turn on your notifications so that you'll always get updates whenever I post a video. That's it, guys. Cheers, and I'll see you in the midweek forex forecast next week. Have a nice weekend. Cheers.